Shalom to my brothers and sisters who are called the bride of Yahushua HaMashyach. And shalom, shalom to the scattered Hebrew Israelites who are throughout the four corners of the earth. For you are called the bride of Yahuwah. Shalom. Today I bring you the third new moon report. And also in this report, we'll be talking about another prophetic sign that has occurred in the heavens. And lastly, we'll be talking about another organization or a family that has the 501(c)(3). They are a member now. Some of you may not be aware, but I just want to bring it to your attention so you can be aware like I am aware now, because I did not know. So now let us begin, because we have a lot of things to talk about and we need to get going. First, for the announcements. I'm sorry, I went down too fast. Yahuwah has spoken through his messengers. You may call them prophets or prophetess, okay? He has spoken unto us, Israelites and Gentiles, letting us know what season we are in. Also let us know who are the Israelites and who are the Gentiles. I highly recommend that you listen to his prophetic messages, but it has a lot of deep spiritual mysteries in there. And also it's given the confirmation of what his servants have been preaching about as well. He has a message for the bride. He has a message for the 12 tribes of Israel, and he has a message for the 10 lost tribes of Israel, known as the house of Israel. So check the video description box or the pinned comment section to listen to those messages. And I'm asking you to share those messages with your brother and sisters. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just go down here. Next, we do want to continue to remember Brother Alayasha and his family, for they have been falsely accused. Hold on, let me go get my cord, because this battery is running low. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. My brothers and sisters, I'm back. Remember Brother Alayasha and his family, for they have been falsely accused. Okay? Remember them and pray for them, and those who are near them, go and minister into their family. I know the husband and wife they are serving time now. On that video, I did put their Facebook page link. Maybe you can reach out to some of their family members where they can give you further instructions and direction on how to reach out to them and to minister to them. Also remember the mother of India Kager, for her daughter's life was taken by the Virginia Beach police. Okay, definitely you want to check out that story as well. And also check out Sisters Catherine, her nephew her nephew Timothy Davis in Columbus, Ohio, where he was also badly mistreated by the police officer as well. Now, this is just a small amount of what I'm showing you, my brothers and sisters, of brothers and sisters who have been vexed, oppressed, and afflicted by this fourth beast, okay? The fourth beast is what Daniel prophesies, which is the fourth kingdom. And we are in the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire is ruled by Esau, also known as Edom or Idumean. He is the ruling nation among the Gentiles, okay? Again, you have to go and read those prophetic prophecies that are in the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 25, chapter 27, as well as the prophets such as Prophet Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, I believe, and the prophet Ezra, which is in the Apocrypha, because when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 6, will confirm unto you that Esau is the ruling nation in this day and time, okay? as well as the prophet Amos and the prophet Obadiah will confirm that to you as well. They still exist, and they are the ruling nation upon this earth, which fulfill the word of the Most High. So, what I'm asking you, my brothers and sisters, please remember those. Please remember those who are afflicted. We would try to do our best as in the body of the Messiah to share our brothers and sisters' testimonies who have been vexed, oppressed, and afflicted by this fourth beast known as the Roman Empire, and the empire is ruled by the nation of Edom. Okay? And Edom is the brother of Jacob. All right, now let's get to the juicy part. Let's go to renewmoon.com website because that site is pretty good at giving us all the new moon results across the world. For we have learned through the word, through the word, and also through the heavens, okay, because the heavens play a role in this too. We have learned through those two things, the word and the heavens, that the sighting of the new moon has now become worldwide. And the reason is because the Hebrew Israelites are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. This why in Israel they're not always able to see the new moon before the other countries, especially in America, because America is one of the landmass over here in the West, has the house of Judah and the house of Israel. In other words, it has the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And in the northern kingdom was the 10 lost tribe. And in the southern kingdom, we still have a representation of the 12 tribes, okay? Because when you go back in the Old Testament, you will learn in the beginning, at first was Judah and Benjamin. And then the Levites came to join unto them. And then after the 10 lost tribes were taken, there was a remnant of that northern kingdom still left in the land who also joined themselves unto the southern kingdom. There is also proof in the new covenant, known as the New Testament, such as Anna the prophetess. She was of the tribe of Asher, okay? So that's just something you can do in your further study. But this is why the new moon sighting has become worldwide now, because the Hebrew Israelites are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And as the prophet Jeremiah prophesies that the Most High will no longer be known as the Most High who had delivered his people out of the land of Egypt, but he would be known as the Most High who delivered his people out of the land of the north, and also out of the other parts of where he has scattered them. And the land of the north today represents the North Americas, the South Americas, Mexico, Alaska, Canada, and their islands that surround those areas, because this is known as the New World, also known as Arsareth, and Arsareth means a new land. Read 2nd Ezra chapter 13. But here you see on this site that the new moon was seen on May the 16th, 2018 AD, which was Wednesday evening. Both Israel and other countries saw the new moon. Okay. In the other countries, it was seen in New Zealand, Australia, well, two parts of Australia. We have Sydney and Bathurst. Also seen in Turkey, okay? And in Israel, it was seen over there as well. So take this time now to pause your screen, okay? Now that we have gotten that out of the way. All right, the next tab we shall go to is dealing with the new moon report. Okay, I did added some new things to the Most High calendar because I have learned by keeping a record and by writing things down, I'm able to understand the Most High prophecies. Most important, what He spoke in His prophetic message on how the heavens is manifesting themselves unto us, Israelites and Gentiles. Yes, the heavens is speaking to you, Israelites, because there's a reason why Israel is not always able to see the new moon before us. And even in some months, we're not able to see the new moon correctly, because it was a sign given unto us, Israelites, to identify unto you that you are His people, Negroes. You are the Most High people. You are the children of Israel. So the heavens is manifesting themselves unto you, speaking unto you, letting you know what season we are in, what day we are in, but most importantly, they are identifying that you are his people. And those who call themselves Jews are not the Jews, for they are converts, for they are the sons of Esau and Japheth. Yes, they are the sons of Esau and Japheth, and the Most High will tell you how and why and what he did. Okay, let's continue. So we know the Most High count is made up of the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. Anyone teaching you the Most High counter must have those three important lights. Go back to the book of Genesis and then you understand why. Read Genesis chapter 1 because you will learn that the Most High count is made of the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. Also, you will have access to the photos for the year of 2018 to 2019 new moon sightings, okay? So you just click on that link so you can see those photos as well. Now we know we're in the season of spring, okay? So in the first part of this calendar, now what you see before you, we have a total of 3 months, and now we are in the third month, okay? Now on this, let me show you where I'm at when I'm looking at now, okay? Now each season has a holy feast or a holy festival, and the seasons mean something very important and very deeply. But in this video, I'm just going to give you the most important thing you need to know. And later on in another video, we're going to talk about these seasons, such as spring, summer, fall, and winter, and how they also are giving us deep spiritual understanding, so knowledge or wisdom, okay? But in this calendar, what you see here, I keep a record when the last Shemitah was, and that was in the year 2014 in the 7th month. And the last Jubilee was in the year of 2015 in the 7th month. And the sign that was manifesting in heaven to confirm this unto us, we had what? The 4 blood moons. And the 4 blood moons occur on the Passover day, which was a bit 14th. And on the 15th day of Ephraim, another word that they may identify the 7th month as is Tishri. So that was another sign in the heavens. Now, also on my calendar, you see here when I keep a record, we added a last 13th month, and that was added in the year 2015 to 2016, and you'll see why. Okay, so in the year of the 2015 to 2016, in that 13th month, that was the 8th cycle of the moon, okay, and it's the 6th fold of the 7th fold in 19 years. Now, I will explain later why right now I have not, what's the word I can say? At this time, I'm sorry, I will explain later in this video why the calendar I have is slightly different from Brother Hashur calendar, and we'll talk a little more about that later on in this video. Okay, now 2 most important Bible verses you want to go back and read and meditate on because it relates to the Most High calendar. If you understand the Most High calendar, then you'll know that the heavens are in line with the earth. They work hand in hand together. And you have to go back to the book of Genesis to understand this holy scripture that I'm about to read unto you now. For it says here in Exodus chapter 34, verse 21, it says that 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest. In earning time and harvest thou shalt rest. And precepts for that is Exodus chapter 23, verse 12, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12, and the book of Luke chapter 13, verse 14. Now, to understand the Most High calendar, you would understand that it relates to agriculture. Because when you go back and study, what is the purpose of Adam? What is the purpose of mankind? Go back and read the book of Genesis. But here when it said in earning time and in harvest, that there's a time that we should sow, okay? And there's a time that we shall harvest. And during these times, there's a time that he wants us to rest and to enjoy the fruits of our labor, okay? So that's just something to think about. And the next scripture we should look at, that this comes from the Apocrypha. It comes from the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Ben Sirach, which is the son of Sirach, okay? And I want you to read chapter 33, and read verse 7 through 9. So we're going to read that now. You'll see why I added this verse to this counter, because it relates to what the Most High shared with me, of why we keep a record of the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. It's very important. For it says here in verse 7, why do one day excel another? So why do the Most High have one day higher than another day? Let us keep going. When as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun. So all the days that we have in the year of the Most High calendar is dictated by the sun. In other words, the sun lets you know when the day begins and ends. Okay? So let me read this again. Why do one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? Okay? Verse 8. By the knowledge of the Most High, they were distinguished, and he alters seasons and feasts. Some of them have he made high days and holiday them, and some of them have he made ordinary days. So this is very important to go back and study and meditate on, because it's telling you how the Most High altered the seasons and the feasts. See, some days he made as high days, known as holy days, and he sanctified those holy days. That means they are set apart days unto him. And some of them he made ordinary days. And this is very important to reflect on, because when you go and read Jubilees chapter 6, and you see what happened to the Israelites, because you know the Most High put a curse upon them. He took away his holy days and holy feast days and caused them to follow the ways of the Gentiles, the ways of the heathens. So he took that away from them because they was committing adultery and idolatry. Forgive my tongue. I have a hard time sometimes pronouncing that word. But in other words, they was cheating on the Most High. So he says, since you cannot give me my honor, my respect, and you cannot keep the covenant as I command you to, I'm going to take this away from you. And he did fulfill it through the heathens. Go back and study what Cornelius did. But however, on the channel, it gives detailed information, it gives you plenty of resources to see what did the Romans do. And what did Constantine do? And I'm sorry to correct myself, not Cornelius, but Constantine. Go back on the YouTube channel that I have and look at those videos. If you don't have time to look at the videos, look at those resources that I give unto you. Go back and read and see how the Most High accomplished this curse through the heathens. Okay? Also, your spare time, read Ben Sirach chapter 43, verse 6 to 10. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, and Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 1 through 8, because the Most High give you his formula for the calendar. So this is why my calendar, this is why this calendar is set up in this format. It's based on the formula that he gave to the prophet Ezekiel. And it relates to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Okay, so now let us begin. So in the past new moon reports, we talked about the first and second month. And we need to go and close out the second month. But what I want to point out to you, if you see in this area here that's going across where my cursor is going, okay, from left to right, I put down what is the Hebrew month. I put down what is the month that the 12-month followers are following, because they are the ones who did not honor the 13th month that occurred in the year of 2015 to 2016. And now I'm also listing what Brother Yahushua is doing, because he has added a 13th month in the year of 2017 to 2018. And at this time, I am not convinced to follow that yet. And in this video I have listed here, we'll explain why, okay? So at this time, I'm not going to follow that, because if you're following the 358 cycle, what I have for the 358 cycle, it is not time to add that 13th month, okay? But this video will explain in detail, all right? But I am following him because, I like this. We as brothers and sisters need to come together, and we need to discuss our differences, and we need to compare notes. And when we come together and compare our notes, we can see what corrections need to be made. We can also learn what we may not know or what we may overlook. So by keeping a record of others, we can compare to see if we're on the right track, because none of us are perfect. This is why the new covenant was established, because the Father foresaw what the fourth beast would do. Do you understand, my brothers and sisters? The Father foresaw what the fourth beast would do. He would place many truths mixed with lies and lay snares before the Israelites and Gentiles who do want to keep these holy days and holy feast days. So the Father already knew, so he had a better way set up. So if you transgress, he made a way that you could repent and you just keep going forth and keep seeking him for his truth. You also, in the word is written that he winked at our ignorance. Read the book of Acts chapter 17. And also in the Apocrypha, it's there in the Apocrypha in Ben Sirah, known as Ecclesiasticus. And you can find it in, let's see where I have it written here. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Ben Sirah chapter 28, verse 7. And you can find that verse I'm talking about in Acts chapter 17. And I'm trying to see where the verse is at. Verse 30. Acts chapter 17, verse 30. And read Ben Sirah chapter 28, verse 7. Okay. Now that I had gotten out of the way, let's close out the second month. So for the Most High calendar, which is the second month of the year 2018 to 2019, for the 12-month father, it's their third month. Okay. And for Brother Yahushua, it's his first month for those who are following him. So let's close out this calendar here. So for the second month of the sun, we have a total of 31 days. Okay. That's something to make a note of. Okay. Let's go down. And you have to, yeah, this laptop do move a little slow. So bear with me. And we're going to see how many days for the moon for the second month. Okay. A little while. Here, I click right here. There we go. So for the second month, we had a total of 30 days for the moon. When you go on the time of day calendar, you will learn that the moon actual time was 29 days, 9 hours, and 51 minutes. Now, for Israel, they had a total of 29 days because for the second month, the sighting of the new moon was different for them. America saw it before them. For Brother Yahushua, he saw it also on the same day with Israel. So this is why he had 29 days. Okay. And for the Most High calendar, I have a total of 30 days. Now, for the sun, actual time for the second month, because we got 31 days, but for the actual timing of the sun, we have 30 days, 23 hours, and 2 minutes, if I did my math correctly. Okay. And we will talk about this again when we deal with the total report, the total calculation report for each season and for the mid-year and for the end of the year. We will talk about this again, okay? So now let's go back to the top and start with the third month. Okay, in the third month, which is 2018 to 2019, we have for the 12-month followers, it's their fourth month, okay? And for Brother Yahushua, it's his second month. And we'll talk more about the 5013C that him and his family has, okay? We'll talk a little more further about that in the video. Okay, now for the Hebrew month, for the third month, it is known as Sivan, and you can find it in the book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 9, and the book of Barak in chapter 1, verse 8. And forgive me if I don't pronounce that correctly. Now for the heathens calendar, known as Satan's calendar, which is the fourth beast calendar, this month for this year fall in the month of May and June in the year of 2018, okay? And for the Sabbath, because I'm following Ezekiel formula that's written in Ezekiel chapter, let me find where I put that scripture, Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 1 through 8, the Sabbath will fall on Wednesday to Thursday. Again, we're going by the heavens to tell us when the Most High Sabbath is. And you think about it, it makes more sense. You're not going to have a paper calendar in the wilderness. You're not going to have the internet in the wilderness. And you're not going to have a watch in the wilderness. You're going to have the heavens in the wilderness. Now, scriptures to read are Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15 to 22, because that gives you the formula to how to count for Pentecost, known as the Feast of Weeks. In the Hebrew tongue, we say Sukkot. Okay. Also read Jubilees chapter 6, Genesis chapter 6 through 9, and the reason why you want to read that pertains to what we're going to talk about in the third month. Okay. And also study the new moon offerings. This is very important because the word would teach you that the new moon offerings is not offered on the same day as the Sabbath. And the Sabbath that I'm talking about is the seventh day of the Most High calendar. Those offerings are separate. They're offered on separate days. So if you read Numbers chapter 28 to chapter 29, you will see a perfect example of how the Sabbath offering is never offered on the new moon day offering. And a hint is to look at the Feast of Trumpets. Look at the Feast of Trumpets, and you will see that the Sabbath offering is never offered on that day. Okay, and there's other proofs too. So read on Numbers chapter 28 to chapter 29. Also read the work of Josephus in the book of Antiquities, book 3, chapter 10, and also read Numbers chapter 10, or what we do on the new moon offerings. Okay, but that is to confirm unto you that the new moon offerings, known as the monthly burnt offerings, are never offered on the Sabbath day. And the Sabbath day I'm talking about is dealing with the seventh day of the Most High. Okay, I'm not talking about the holy convocation days. I am specifically talking about the Sabbath day, which is the seventh day of the Most High calendar. Okay. Another thing the Most High want me to bring to your attention, this is why when you read the scriptures that the new moon days, that the word new moon is always written separate from Sabbath. It's the reason why you see those two things separate. Okay. Another thing that I want to remind you of is to remember the count to Pentecost, known as Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks, is 7 complete Sabbaths and 50 days. For the wheat and grapes are ripe in summertime. The word tells you that only wheat and grapes are ripe in summertime. And when we talk about the third month, you will see what I'm talking about when you look at Mazarah, how the sun worked with Mazarah. So right now we are still in spring, my brothers and sisters. Okay, so we should be following what the heavens tell us as well as the earth. Again, and the scriptures will confirm unto you that wheat and grapes are only ripe in the summertime. You must have wheat in order to have your Pentecost, in order to make your new meat offering unto the Most High Yah. Okay. Also, Pentecost, known as Feast of Weeks, is a twofold festival. A lot of people don't know about that. So all you have to do is click on this video and it will give you other information that you may not be aware of about Pentecost, because it is a twofold festival, which we're about to talk about on the new moon day that we go into now. So on the new moon day, the first day of the moon, it was witnessed on May the 16th, which was Wednesday at sundown. Okay. And that was witnessed by Israel, Brother Hashur, and throughout other countries. Okay. Now, for me, I know I was not able to sight it because it was cloudy, it was rainy. So I would also look for if any brothers and sisters have any reports in the Americas. But for right now, I put it as East and West cited the New Moon Crescent and also Brother Hashur. Now, also when you read a book of Jubilees chapter 6, you will learn about this part that's not discussed when people are teaching you about the Feast of Weeks known as Pentecost. There is a covenant that must be anew, okay, or remember when we celebrate Feast of Weeks. And this is the covenant that the Most High gave unto Noah, okay? And the token, a sign that he gave as a sign in the heavens that we can see with our eyes, is a rainbow. And that rainbow was to remind him that when he covered the earth with a cloud, or when he bring rain upon the earth, he would not destroy the earth by floods. Okay, so that's why you see me highlighted in pink, rainbow, covenant of Adam, and that covenant will pertain to Noah's seed. Again, remember after the flood, Noah and his sons repopulated the earth. Okay, and they are the sons of Adam. You go back and trace the lineage. So that covenant pertains to Adam. Again, Adam means mankind, and it also means male and female. All right? So take this time now to pause your screen so you can see about the new moon day. Now, another thing he want me to point out, notice the day of the sun. The day of the sun is in the second month and on the 27th day. So the 27th day of the sun falls on the first day of the moon. That is very important that you have the correct day of the sun with the correct day of the moon because they work hand in hand together. Remember Ecclesiasticus, known as Ben Sirach, chapter 33, verse 7 through 9. This is how this works. You have to have the correct day of the sun with the correct day of the moon, because if not, your Sabbath will be incorrect. And those who follow the Gregorian calendar, you know the Gregorian calendar was based on the sun. No, well, its format now is based on the sun. But however, when you do a further study, you will learn that they did not follow the sun at all. They don't follow the heavens. They're doing their own thing. They have a fixed calendar. They don't pay attention to the heavens. And on the channel, there is a video that talks about multiples of sevens. And I give the year where you can see what the heathens do. Because when they say that the sun has 366 days that year, they are incorrect because the Most High calendar would say we have 365. So just by having one day off will not give you the correct Sabbath. Your Sabbath day will fall incorrectly. That's one of the errors, but there's many other errors, my brothers and sisters, that the Gregorian calendar has. Even when they realized they was behind the sun year, in other words, they were short days in their calendar. Not short days. They had. I'm sorry, I'm getting my time right. They was behind the sun year. So when they made the correction, my brothers and sisters, they did not start on the correct day of their week format. I'm telling you, it's so many errors in that calendar. So those who are using the Gregorian calendar, you would come to learn that everything about it is incorrect. The monthly format, the weekly format, everything. So it can never give you the Most High Sabbath day. You have to go back to the beginning of the book and allow the word to teach you what is his correct Sabbath day. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But another thing, there are key hints in the work of Josephus, because Josephus tells you some important clues, even though it was transliterated into English, and we know how the heathens do. You know, sometimes they don't translate things correctly. However, the Most High set it up where you would have clues. And one of the clues that Josephus had left for us is that on Abib 16th is the day of the sheaf-weight offering day, which is the first fruits of the body harvest. And that was the day when the Messiah was resurrected on that day. Because remember, the carnal go hand with the spiritual. Okay, just like we have the first fruits of the body harvest, he is the first of the resurrection. Okay, so that's just for example. And in the work of Josephus, he tells you that it is Abib 16. Another hint. All right, now we're going to look at the weekly format. So when we look at the first week of the moon, on day 2 of the moon, we have a super crescent moon to occur that day, which falls on the 17th day of May. Okay, and I need to take you here, because on this channel, they do a video to educate you, to let you know what is the super crescent moon, okay? And it is going to be seen with Venus. And Venus is known as the day star, as written in Isaiah chapter 14 in the side note of the King James 1611. And when you do a study of that, day star means Venus, and Venus ties into the deity known as Astaroth in the book of Judges chapter 2. And Astaroth ties into the principality of Lucifer. Okay, just as we have a representation in heavens of these principalities, and another example is Saturn. Saturn is another planet in the heaven that is used to represent Satan. Okay, because we know those who worship Satan in the beginning was following Saturn or Saturn's day, okay? For those who do it for the study. But let us get back on track here. So the super crescent moon and Venus will be sighted on May the 17th. And this comes on the Nemesis channel, Nemesis Maturity. And I will put his link in the video description box so you can read more about that, okay? Now let's go back to the calendar here. All right. So as you see, in this first week of the moon, I put the day of the sun, okay, with the Gregorian date so you can understand how to keep a record of the calendar for yourself. I do not want you to become dependent on me, because if something happened to me, how you going to be able to know when is the Most High holy days, holy feast days, and how you going to have your record. So I want you to get in the habit of start keeping a record for yourself. Start with a pocket counter, and then for those who are more specific like I am, you can put this on your computer, okay? But as you can see here, on day 2 of the moon, we have a super crescent moon to occur, okay? That's when the moon is closer to the earth, but because of the amount of light, it's in a crescent form, all right? And as we look on the first week of the moon, on the 5th day of the moon, the sun will enter in the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth. The heathen call it Gemini, okay? And on this day, it is the last day of the sun's 2nd month. And first Enoch give you the specific details to understand how the sun worked with Mazzaroth. And also read Second Enoch. Just very important to read Second Enoch, because then you can understand how we got 365.25 days and 366 days for the sun. Second Enoch will explain that to you as well. Okay, but on the 5th day of the moon, that's when the sun enters in the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth, and the heathen call it the Gemini, and it falls on the heathen calendar, because you know for us we start from sundown to sundown. So it's May the 20th at sundown, and on May the 21st at sundown. Okay, so within that time from sundown to sundown, that's when the sun will enter the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth. Therefore, on the 6th day of the moon, this is when we have the first day of summer. Okay, and on this day is when the moon is waxing, that means increasing to light to 50%, and it occurs on May the 22nd at 6:49 a.m. in Israel Daylight Savings Time. Okay, and as for the sun, this is the first day of the sun in this 3rd month. Okay, and on the heathens calendar, it falls on the 21st day of May at sundown, ending on the 22nd day of May at sundown. Take this time now to pause your screen to look at that. So this is when the first day of summer begins, my brothers and sisters. It begins on day 6 of the moon for this year of 2018 to 2019. And the reason is because when you look at actual timing of the sun, and even the moon, when you look at the actual timing of the sun, we can't split a day and say part of it is the 2nd month and part of it's the 3rd month. But when you deal with on the calendar, you have to deal with calendar whole days. So this is why day 6 of the moon is the first day of summer. And not the first day of summer. I have to apologize, my brothers and sisters. I made an error here. That needs to be corrected, because that's dealing with the 4th sign of Mazzaroth. Forgive me, because that is not supposed to be there. So let me correct myself again so you can get the correct information. On day 5th of the moon, that is when the sun enters the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth. So we are still in springtime right now. We are not in summer. So day 6 of the moon, we are still in spring. And that will be corrected. Matter of fact, let me do it now, because I know how, when you know how, what's the word I'm looking for? When you know the enemies, what they're looking for, and I want to do it right before your eyes. So I have to wait till it come up. I'm taking this off now because I want you to see that this is still springtime. I'll make a note. Still in spring. There we go. Perfect. I'm not going to hit the other part yet because if I do, I'm going to have to. So forgive me. We're going to have to do this again. It's going to go back up. Give it a second. Sorry about that, my brothers and sisters. Okay. Now let's go down. And we go into the first week of the moon. Okay, in the first week of the moon, we are still in spring on day 6 of the moon. Again, I apologize for that error. So, looking at day 8 of the moon, this is the last complete Sabbath. This is the 7th Sabbath, okay, that we are counting towards Pentecost. So, this falls on day 8 of the moon, and it falls on day 3 of the sun in this 3rd month. And for the heathens' date, it'll be on May the 23rd at sundown, ending on May the 24th at sundown. Okay, now let's go to the 2nd week of the moon. So as you see, I have highlighted green. This is when we start to count for the 50 days. And did you not know that this 50-day count also ties in not only with the rainbow covenant, but it also ties in what happened with Moses on Mount Sinai when he received the covenant. When he received the law, statutes, judgment, and commandments from the Most High. Okay, and we'll talk about those events too as well. So on the 2nd week of the moon, the first day of the 50-day count start on the 9th day of the moon, which fall on the sun's 4th day in its 3rd month. Okay. Now, when we look at the 13th day of the moon, that is the 5th day of the 50 count. And on this day is when we have a full moon. For the phase occur on May the 29th at 5:19 p.m. in Israel Daylight Saving Time. Now, this is one of the prophetic signs that I've been talking about because in the past, we have learned through the prophet Enoch that a full moon can only occur on the 14th or 15th day. Okay. Also, and proof of that, we can look at the 4 blood moons that happened in the year 2014 and 2015. And those who have been keeping a record of the Most High calendar, you will see that in the majority of its months, that the full moon usually fall on the 14th or the 15th day. Now, when I look at the new moon crescent, I'm asking myself, did it fall on the correct appointed time? So when I look at the previous month and when I start comparing things, so far from what I see, my brothers and sisters, it fall on the correct day. It's just that this moon is doing what it's wanting to do. She really do. She does what she wants to do. She can speed up or she can slow down. So it fell on the 13th day of the month. And I need to take you to timeanddate.com so we can see what's going on with this moon phase. And we're going to look at it for Arad Israel. Okay. And we're going to look at the moon rise and moon set time and see what's going on with this day. So we know the dark moon occurred on May the 15th at 2:47 p.m. in Israel Daylight Savings Time. That's important to know when we get to that area that I'm looking for. So bear with me. I usually find it real easily, but let me go here. Let me see. It's usually somewhere in here. Here we go. Moon rise and moon set times for a rod. And we have the full moon. Let me see when the full moon date was. The full moon date was on May the 29th. for a rod Israel. So we go to the 29th day. And let's see what's going on here. So we know when the moon becomes full, it's going to rise in the east, my brothers and sisters. And the sun is going to set in the west. All right. So on this day, we're going to look at moon rise. This is the column we're looking at. So it's supposed to rise at 7:28 p.m. Okay. And when the moon is in its highest point in the sky, it has it at 12:06 a.m. on the 29th. So this is before 7:28 p.m. At this point, the moon would be 99.3%. Okay. When that happens. Oh, let me go back. Let me bring this up some so we can see what's going on here. I want you to really see this. Let me go back up some. There we go. Okay. So at the highest point in the sky, the moon is at 99.3%. Now, when it gets at 7:28 p.m., that's when we should start seeing the moon to rise above the horizon. Okay. So the reason why I'm looking at this, let me see here. Okay, what I'm looking for is, this is what I'm looking for, but this graph is not going to show it. What I'm looking for is when the moon is exactly 100%. And when it becomes 100% is before 7:28. It becomes 100% at 5:19 p.m. Okay, so let me go back to my chart. So at 5:19 p.m., I'm trying to get close to the time. That's as close I can get it. At 5:19 p.m., this is when the moon is 100%. Okay, that's when it reaches to its highest peak illumination. But by the time it rises at 7:28, the moon is going to start slowly to decrease in light. Okay. And anything that is before sundown time is going to fall in the day before. For example, because the full moon occurs at 5:19 p.m. and we are in the spring season, and during the season from spring to summer, daylight is becoming longer than night. Okay. So I already know, because we're in the third month, okay, of the sun and the moon, that at 5:19 p.m., the sun will still be up, okay? So that's why this phase fell in on the 28th day to the 29th day of May, okay? And because it fell on this day, this is why this phase fell on the 13th day of the moon. Again, this is another sign, this letting me know that the moon is not showing at her appointed time, which the prophet Enoch said that this would happen in the days of sinners. And it's also letting us know, Israelites, that we are in the season for the Messiah to return, and we are in the season when the Most High is letting us know who we are. Okay? So for this month, I left it as is. I didn't touch it because when I look at the previous month and I look at this month, it would be best just to leave it as is. But you can decide what is now, not what you can decide. Seek out the Most High and ask him what is best. But when I sought him out at this time, it said just leave it alone, let it be. Okay? So this is the second week of the moon. Now on the 15th day of the moon, which is the 7th day of the count to Pentecost, this is the day when the children of Israel comes to Mount Sinai. And I want you to read Exodus chapter 19, verse 1. Exodus chapter 19, verse 1. This is the day when they came to Mount Sinai, okay? And on this day is the first day of sanctification, and this is the day when Jethro came to be with them and also to worship the Most High. For this year, the 15th day of the moon fell on the 10th day of the sun in its third month. And on the heathen's calendar, it is May the 30th at sundown, ended on May the 31st at sundown. Now we're going to look at the 13th. Now we're going to look at the third week of the moon. Sorry, my tongue. So now we pull up the third week of the moon. You see, we got a lot of things going on that third week. Okay. So on the 16th day of the moon, which is the 8-day count of 50 to Pentecost, this is day 2 when they had to sanctify themselves before the Most High could come. Okay. And this is the second day that Jethro are with them, also worshiping the Most High. Now, there's a video that goes over this in more details, but I'm just going to give you the highlights of the events. I do recommend that you go back and study these scriptures or what happened during the third month. And for this year, the 16th day of the moon fell on the 11th day of the sun. Okay. Now we look at the 17th day of the moon, which is the ninth count to Pentecost, ninth day of the 50th day count to Pentecost. On the 17th day, which is the day when the Most High came down to the Israelites in a cloud. Read Exodus chapter 19, verse 16. And for this year, the 17th day of the moon fell on the 12th day of the sun. Okay? Now, on the 18th day of the moon, which is the 10th day count of the 50 to Pentecost, at night, the people were informed what was told to Moses by the Most High. That was at nighttime. On the daylight of this day, that's the day when Moses, built the altar. Not built the altar. I'm sorry. Let me get my tongue right. That is the day when you have the altar and him building the 12 pillars and him making his offerings unto the Most High. This is also the day when Moses entered into Mount Sinai. And when he entered into Mount Sinai, this marks day 1 of the 40 days and 40 nights that he would be in Mount Sinai. Okay. And this also marks day 1 of the cloud. Read Exodus chapter 24. Okay. And that's when we also have the covenant as well. So definitely read that chapter so you can see what events take place. I just put keywords. So let me say this again. On day 18 of the moon, this is the 10th day count to Pentecost. But this is also at the nighttime. This is after sundown. That's when the people was informed what the Most High told to Moses. Then after night came daylight, and in the daylight, Moses, we had the altar, we have the 12 pillars, we have him making his offerings, and we also have him entering the mountain after the morning activities. And when he entered the mountain, that marked day 1 from him they marked day 1 for him of the 40 days and 40 nights. So when you see me put 40.5, I'm saying it was a 40 and a half days because he started in the daylight phase, but when he came off the mountain, he came off at the night phase. So that's why it's 40 and a half days. And remember, Most High taught us in numbers, okay? So on day 19 of the moon, which is the 11-day count to Pentecost of the 50, this is the first night that Moses is in the mountain. And this is the second daylight phase that Moses is in the mountain. And this is day 2 of the cloud. In day 20 of the moon, which is the 12th count of the 50 count to Pentecost. We have this being the second night for Moses being in the mountain, and the third daylight phase for Moses being in the mountain of the 40 and a half days. And this is the third day of the cloud. In day 21 of the moon, which is the 13th of the 50 count to Pentecost. We have this being as Moses' third night being in Mount Sinai and his fourth daylight of being in Mount Sinai of the 40 and a half day. And this is day 4 of the cloud being upon. This is day 4 of the cloud. Now on day 22 of the moon, we have a waning half moon. And that is a moon decreasing in light, which is 50%. And this is the 14th of the 50 count to Pentecost. Okay. And looking at the moon phase here, and this is what I'm talking about. When I look at the previous month, if I go back and try to say it was the 15th instead of the 16th of them seeing the new moon, it would have pushed this phase into the next week. It would have affected this week. Okay. So that's why I said, when I just meditate on it, I left it alone, my brothers and sisters, kept it as is, and took the full moon as being a prophetic sign unto us, letting us know that sorry, I had to pause. Let us know that the heavens are manifesting themselves unto us. Okay. So when we look at day 22nd of the moon, this is the 4th night and the 5th daylight of the 40 and a half days that Moses is upon Mount Sinai. And this is day 5 of the cloud. Okay. Now we're going to the 4th week of the moon. Now in the 4th week of the moon, we have the 15th of the 50 count to Pentecost. And this is Moses' 5th night and 6th day of the 40 and a half day count. Okay. He was in the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. And this is day 6 of the cloud. And this is the 18th day of the sun and its 3rd month. On the 24th day of the moon, we have the 16th of the 50 count to Pentecost. And this is the 6th night and 7th daylight of the 40 and a half days that Moses is on the mountain. And on the 7th day of the 40 and a half days, Yahuwah called Moses out of the midst of the cloud. Read Exodus chapter 24, verse 16. And remember, I said that the Most High talked in numbers. So if we were to subtract 7 from 40, we would get 33 and a half. What did that remind you of? The Messiah age. For he was 33 and a half years old when he was crucified upon a cross and when he resurrected. Also, this should remind you of the 3.5 year time that the 2 witnesses would prophesy. And they will be killed and their body will, remain in the streets with their head beheaded for 3.5 days. Do you see how the Most High talk in numbers? Okay. And there's a video on the channel. Look at the video that talks about 45. And it talks about that, I think, as well with numbers. On day 25 of the moon, we have the 17th count of the 50 to Pentecost. So now let us look at day 28 of the moon. And this is the day we have the last waning crescent phase of the moon. This is the part of the moon where you will see light. And after this last phase, you will see no more light. In other words, after this phase, you cannot see the moon anymore. Okay? So on day 28 of the moon, we have the last waning crescent of the moon, which is a little silver of light, as you see in this picture. And that is the 20th of the 50 count to Pentecost. Okay? And then on day 29 of the moon, that is the 21st of the 50 count to Pentecost. And that is the day where we have the dark moon. And the dark moon is not a visible sign in the heaven. It is not I put it like this. You cannot see a dark moon in the heavens. And this is why the Father had ordained the new crescent moon as the beginning of the month, because this is a sign you can see in the heavens. See, with a dark moon, because you can't see it, sometimes this phase can be 1 to 2 days. So with our Father, he always gives us a sign that we can see or that we can confirm this is the day of the beginning of his month. So those who follow dark moon, again, that's the things of the darkness. Remember, we are the children of light. Our Father is the Father of lights. So this is why He has given the lights in the heavens to be a sign for us, for they should be for signs, for days, for seasons, and for years. Okay? And as far as the 30 day, that's pending because it depends on when we can see the next crescent. Again, the dark moon falls on the 24th day of the sun, which is in its third month. And on the heathens calendar, that falls on June the 13th at sundown, ending on June the 14th at sundown. Now, I did forget to mention that the beginning of June will start on day 16 of the moon. Okay? The beginning of June will start on day 16 of the moon. Take this time now to pause your screen. Also, I do need to go further down. There's another thing you need to look at. I do list here the specific date and time when the sun entered the signs of Mazzaroth, the third sign of Mazzaroth, known as Gemini. And in the heaven concordance, that'd be about 60 degrees. Okay. And in Israel, it will happen on May the 21st, 2018 at 5:14 a.m. in Israel Daylight Saving Times. In America, on the East Coast, it will fall on May 20th at 10:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Times. And here, what I've said before, the 40.5 days is basically 40 daylights and 40 nights. That's when Moses went into the mountain after the morning activities on day 18. On day 24th, I put here, note, after the 7th day, there are 33.5 days left of the 40.5 days. 40.5 minus 7 equals 33.5. Yahushua HaMashyach was at the age of 33.5 or 33.5 when he was crucified on Abib 14th, 32 AD on the Passover, which is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Remember that it's an 8-day feast. Go back and read Exodus chapter, is this right on my tongue? Exodus chapter 12. Okay. Also, the two witnesses of Revelation chapter 11 prophesied for 3.5 years. Their bodies in the street for 3.5 days. Then they shall be resurrected and ascended into heaven in a cloud. So 3.5 days is really, when you round up, it's 4 days. So on the 4th day, they will ascend back up into the heavens. Okay. So remember, he always taught us in numbers as well. Okay, now what I want to talk to you about is the 5031C, as we talked about earlier. And I'm trying to make sure we cover all our tabs. So when you go back up here to the calendar, I am going to take this out right here. I'm going to take this out. When you see right here, I just put that there to remind me to mention about this, because I wasn't aware of this and you may not be aware of this, but it's good that we know that they have the 5013C, okay? And I like to go to my photos, because you will have access to the photos, all right? And how you have access to the photos, go back to all the way to the top. You will go here, 2018 to 2019 moon photos. So we're going to go there now. Is it this one? Nope. This one is this tab. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have to come back and fix this, my brothers and sisters, because this is what I want to show you. I had to leave this in edit mode, because if I don't leave it in edit mode, guess what happens when I put it in view mode? His pictures go away. So I will come back and I will fix this so you can see the pictures. I don't know how and why, because I did the same thing when what I did with this photo here. It didn't, I used the same steps and the same format when I insert these photos. So I don't know why this would disappear, but I'm going to work on it, because where there's a will, there's a way. The Father will give it to me, okay? But what we see here for May sightings, sorry about that. Let me put my cursor up here. For May 2018 new moon sightings, we have here Brother Hashur, and I'm going to read what he wrote here. He says, this 29th day of the new moon of the second month was sighted on the evening of this May 16, 2018 at 5:40 p.m. by the watchmen of the Tabernacle Congregation of Prayer at the real Mount Zion. So he sighted the new moon crescent on May the 16th at 5:40 p.m. And his signing also goes along on the same day with the signing of the Jewish people in Israel who are converts. They cited too on Wednesday, and they got their times to be, let me see, I'll go down here. They cited at 7:41 p.m. with binoculars. With the naked eye, it was cited at 7:48 p.m. Okay. So when I fix that problem, you will have a chance to compare these two. Okay. Let me go down here. So what I want to point out to you, because I was not aware of this, my brothers and sisters, until I came across it. It says here by Brother Hashur, Tabernacle Congregation of Prayer. Now is the time of the month to donate to Tabernacle Congregation of Prayers, nonprofit corporation with 5013C status for tax donation write-off purposes, meaning you would get your money back. This nonprofit corporation doesn't pay federal or state income taxes on profits it makes from activities in which it engages to carry out its objectives, formed to carry out a charitable, educational, religious, literary, or research purpose. Okay? You can come, once I fix this part, you can get there. That's if you want to do it, my brothers and sisters. There information on how they are paid and information on how to donate to them. And he also puts here that you can get the calendar for free, okay, by going to that website. So I did copy and paste the website. So you can compare what they have to what you have, and then you can see Yahuwah for yourself in what is correct. Remember, the Spirit shall teach you all things. 1 John chapter 2, verse 27. Okay. Now, what the Father want me to share with you. Why would Brother Hashur have the 513C if he's living in Israel? Here's the reason. If you want to keep your American citizenship, you still have to pay taxes to America. The only way to not pay taxes to America is that you have to denounce your citizenship. So in other words, if he's collecting money, such as donations, and he has an American citizenship, he has to report that to the government. Okay? Now, those who have done a research on the 5013C, we know what the government gives, not everything. How can I say this in layman terms? Just because it's free, it may not always be good. You have to do research and study what is the motives behind the government. For we know we are living in the world of darkness. We know Satan has dominion over the earth right now until the Messiah takes away from him. And we know that he runs all governance of the world. Go back and read Matthew chapter 4 and Luke chapter 4, and you will see that, he even told the Messiah that he would give him kingdoms and riches or whatever, he was going to offer him. Go back and read it. Okay. So we do know the governance of the world today, in this earthly realm today, is not of Yahuwah. In other words, they are of Satan. And what I mean by that, and we can see evidence of this, they are making laws that are against the covenant, that are against the word, to prevent you from keeping the covenant, just as what the Greeks did unto my ancestors who are Hebrew Israelites. Okay? So just because something is free that our government offer unto us, beware. There's something attached to it. And the only thing I'm going to say about the only thing else I want to say about this, because those who have been doing research about the 5013C, we have come into the knowledge that it's another way the government can spy on us. It's another way the government can see who is claiming themselves to be Israel. Okay? Now, not that we should be in fear, because the word tells us to fear no man, but fear the one who can destroy the body and soul. But what I'm saying to you is that you need to be aware and knowledgeable of what is attached to the 501(c) and make a spiritual judgment. Because what most people don't understand too, if you are calling yourself a church, and we know that's the heathen word, but the correct word should be assembly or congregation of Israel, okay? Or basically the bride of the Lamb, okay? If you want to claim that, there are laws in the government where you don't have to get the 501(c) and still be tax exempt. Yes, there are laws where if you are a quote unquote church, which is basically the assembly or congregation of Israel, or you can say the temple of the Most High, or you can say the bride of the Most High, okay? I mean, the bride of the Lamb, okay? There are laws for you where you don't have to get the 501(c) and still be tax exempt. But you have to beware of the snares and the traps that Satan set before you, because just because it's free, that does not mean it is good for you. You have to look at their motives and what is attached to those incentives. Okay? And that's all I want to say on that. Okay. So this concludes the third new moon report. I am sorry that I was long with it. I do apologize. And I apologize for the error. But continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize them in the name of Yahushua HaMashyach. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, and the apostle continued them both. And the Most High Yah, who is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has confirmed unto us through his prophetic message that we are in the season for the Messiah to return. And we know through the word it can be at any day, any week, any month, or any year now. For we are in the 7th day from Adam, which is the 12,000 year from creation. Okay. And read 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and Matthew chapter 24. For the Messiah told us that we shall know the season, but we will not know the day of his coming. Okay. And another thing that the Father want me to point out, and I have to remember how to get to it. Okay, I can open it up. So you can see that I do have proof about the what day we are in from Adam. Okay. And that's dealing with the end of year totals from the year of 2017 to 2018. The Father has given me confirmation. Now, I'm not saying that my calculations are exact, because I still have to do more research on another area I need to look at. But I do know without a doubt, based on what he has shown unto me, and based on the confirmation, that we are in the 7th day from Adam, which is the 12,000 year from creation. Here we go. See how you get something so close and then it want to go away. See, was it this one? Nope, I got to go further down. Sorry. Let me just bring the cursor down and see what it do. There we go. Was it this one? I'll probably have to go back up. Let me go back up. Here we go. It was this chart. So Beta Israel has also been keeping records too. And from their records and from what the Most High has shown to me, it has confirmed that we are in the 7th day of Adam. Please read 2nd Ezra chapter 7. Okay? I love you all, and shalom. And do you know who's that peace that is with you? Think about it. Matthew chapter 28, verse 20. And I wish you a shalom.